And Ethan Fry, grand slam, and LSU walks off Southeastern. We're recapping it, Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. LSU walks off Southeastern 15-2. The game ended just as it started for the Tigers. Derek Curiel, a leadoff home run, followed by Jared Jones as they went back-to-back in the bottom of the first. And it ended with Ethan Fry's grand slam, and the Tigers beat the Lions 15-2. A very nice midweek win for LSU. As we do often say, your non-conference schedule at LSU, it just doesn't matter. The midweek games don't matter because your RPI boosting opportunities in conference are fantastic. But LSU is now up to number 5 in the RPI real time after they just walked off Southeastern. Remember, Southeastern Louisiana is a team with an RPI coming into this game. Let's see, they're at 53 after this loss. So that's Walter Nolan. That's real time. So they got an RPI of 53. So Southeastern's kind of tiptoeing around a top 50 RPI game, which would be a nice resume booster. But again, you've got plenty of juice from your conference schedule. But when you look at LSU's non-conference strength of schedule, it's embarrassing. LSU's non-conference strength of schedule is 215 in the country. So, but anyway, a very nice win for LSU and a lot to dive into in this ball game. The offense was awesome, continued its hot streak that it started on Sunday against Tennessee. Tigers 15 runs on 11 hits. They did leave 6 on base, but by and large, when the Tigers had guys on base, they capitalized. And how about the LSU pitching in this ball game as well? Starting with William Schmidt, we saw Primo, Newt, and Ware as well. The LSU pitching struck out 14 Southeastern Lions. And, that's a good Southeastern team. Like, that is a team that is very likely going to be favored to win the Southland Conference tournament. And even if they don't, they're going to have a shot with a top 50 RPI. If they keep climbing there, they're going to have a shot at an at-large. If you missed After Further Review on Tuesday, we had J.R. Teagues on the show, who's the former Southeastern head coach, who's now the Southeastern AD, who also is the chairman of the College Baseball Selection Committee. And he said, there's a shot that you could have, the Southland could be a multi-bid league this year if a team like Southeastern doesn't win the conference tournament. So something to file away for that one. Let's talk about this game here tonight. And again, if you're new to the format, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes of my thoughts. I'll grab a quick break, come back, and I'll get to your questions and comments. So please feel free to drop them. I appreciate it there. A few things. William Schmidt got the start. I thought Schmidt was really good in this ball game. He got a 1-2-3 first with 2 strikeouts. He got a foul out, strikeout to start the game. And then, of course, LSU put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the first and never really looked back. We'll get to that in a second. But then Schmidt came back in the second and struck out the side. Little, Woods, and Polk all struck out, looking, swinging. So Schmidt went 6 up, 6 down with 5 strikeouts. There was a foul out and then 5 strikeouts. So he's cruising. Then you go into the third, and Watts homered on the first pitch. LSU at this point is up 5-0. And it was a get-me-over strike. And clearly that was a scouting report pitch where LSU was able to pump a first pitch strike. So Schmidt grooved one. He grooved one to Watts, and you just tip your cap. He didn't miss it. Schmidt was pushing 97 in this ball game. That pitch got over at 94. It was just a get-me-over fastball to get up 0-1 in the count. Clearly that was the scouting report they had. And Watts swung and crushed it. So no harm, no foul. It's 5-1 at that point. And even after that, I thought Schmidt was good. He went ground out, strikeout, single, 2-out single. Then they have a mound visit, which, anyway, I didn't love the mound visit at this point. After the mound visit, he uncorks the wild pitch, and then he walks Salvaggio and gets O'Neill to fly out. But the single to center before the mound visit is the one that you got to put the star next to, because after the homer, it would have been ground out, strikeout, fly out to center. But that was the play, if you're watching, when Stanfield is coming in, and Stanfield's fantastic. He's had a great year, but this was a misplay by Stanfield. He just gave up on the ball as he was coming in. It ended up, he just pulled up on the ball and landed right in front of him. That's a play we've seen Stanfield make, should have made, and then Schmidt would have been out of the inning with allowing just the solo homer to lead off, then 3 up, 3 down after that. Instead, it prolonged the inning with the single and then the walk, and then he had to get a couple more outs. So Schmidt did go back out there for the 4th. He allowed a single. Went single, strikeout, double. Then after the double, they pulled him. So I think what we're learning here with Schmidt is he's probably good, to get you through the lineup once. Once they've seen him, if he gets fatigued and if he's missing his spots, that's where he tends to find trouble. But Schmidt could be a guy that if he's on his game, might be able to go get you 9 outs. In this ball game, he got you 3, 6, 9. He got you 10 outs. And he might have been even more efficient, but for Stanfield letting that ball fall in front of him in the 3rd. But I thought Schmidt was really good, and the rest of the pitching from LSU was really outstanding in this ball game. After Schmidt, you went to Primo, who went an inning and a third, struck out 3, faced 5 batters, allowed 1 hit, but struck out 3. Newt went an inning and a third, struck out 3, didn't allow a base runner. Ware through the 7th, allowed the 1 hit, but struck out 1, and was really good in that 7th. He had the leadoff single, but then went foul out, strikeout, fly out. So your pitching was outstanding against a really good offense, y'all. I need to underscore that. This is a Southeastern team that came in batting .300 as a team. They came in with 72 home runs in just 44 games played. So that's just under 2 home runs a game. About 1.75 home runs per game is what they average. And they hit one tonight. But to be able to keep the ball in the yard and limit Southeastern to just 2 runs, I thought was fantastic by the LSU pitching. You wanted to see him go out there and throw strikes, put the ball over the plate, make them beat you swinging, and ultimately your pitching notched 14 strikeouts against a good offense. Excellent job. Offensively, the Tigers really were relentless in this ball game. They had the 4-run first inning where you went back-to-back home runs by Curiel and Jones, which was awesome to see. And then Brown got on base on it. They ruled it a fielding error on the second baseman. It was a hard hit ball. I think it was bang, bang. Could have been an error. Could have been a single. They ruled it an error, whatever. I don't love the way Brian Lazar scores the game. I think there's so many times where I just disagree with what he does. He's the official scorer at the box. Brian's a perfectly good guy. I like him a lot. I just totally disagree with him a lot on official scoring. But then Dickinson doubled and then Pearson singled, and you were relentless. So anyway, you put up a 4 spot in the first. You wasted an Aaron Beatty. Well, no, you didn't waste the Aaron Beatty double. He doubled in the second, and the throwing error by the pitcher, which allowed Brown to go to third and scored Aaron Beatty, put you up 5-0. And then let's see. And then the fourth was the big inning for the Tigers. They put up a 5 spot in the 4th. Stanfield led off with a walk. And this is the thing where if you're a good offense, you make them pay. Stanfield led off with a walk, and then Curiel singled to center. And even after Jones popped out, this is where Brown bunted. And it was a sack bunt because you had a runner on third, and the catcher just airmailed the ball. And so Curiel advanced to third, Stanfield scored, and the merry-go-round was going. Dickinson had an RBI single that scored a couple. Braswell had an RBI single that scored a couple. You put up a big 5 spot in the 4th, and then really it was over at that point until Fry hit the grand slam in the 7th. So a couple of other things. And how about Fry? His first pinch hit at bat was in the bottom of the 5th against a lefty, and he struck out with a runner on second base. But then he comes up in the 8th against a righty, nonetheless, and hits the grand slam, which was awesome to see. Hat tip to Dalton Beck, who had another pinch hit at bat, another pinch hit single in this ball game, which was great. And they really emptied the bench. Also, I wanted to note in the 6th, it was Newt in the 6th that struck out the side in the 6th, which was, I thought Newt was awesome in his outing. And, you keep waiting for guys or looking for guys that are going to establish roles as you get toward the postseason. And you feel like you know who the short list of guys are that you're going to count on out of the bullpen. Evans and Cowan are right there at the top, but Newt and Ware and Schmidt and Rizzi and Primo are all those guys right there that you feel like are next, and maybe Benj after that, but it feels like he's maybe dropped a little bit on the totem pole. So to see these guys go out there in those type of reliever roles and pitch the way they did was awesome. I mentioned 14 strikeouts for the LSU pitching. If I had one slight criticism for the LSU offense, again, it's slight. LSU did strike out 7 times in a 9-inning game. That's not egregious, but 7 strikeouts in 7 at-bats. I didn't love to see that, but in any event, the Tigers win. They run rule Southeastern, and you get a really good performance. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if there's anything else, any of the notes that I wrote down. And then you saw forgive me, that was the other thing I wanted to mention, was the DH platoon. So Josh Pearson started at DH, had a really good day. He was 2 for 3 with 2 RBI in the ball game, scored a run. That was fantastic to see. Curiel had a 2-hit game. He was 2 for 2 and walked twice, so he was on base every time that he was up today. And Dickinson also had a 2-hit game. He did have a strikeout, but he was 2 for 2 with he was 2 for 4, with 2 runs scored. So and then Braswell was 1 for 3 with 2 RBI, but a really nice day. Didn't love to see the strikeouts, especially the strikeouts with runners in scoring position. But all things considered, when you go put up 15 runs, on 11 hits. It's hard to complain about much. So the Tigers win. They beat Southeastern. They run rule them 15-2, and now they'll head off to College Station for a 3-game series against the reeling Aggies that just got swept by the University of Texas, and a pretty desperate A&M team that LSU is going to run into in College Station coming up on Friday. Okay, let me knock out my very quick break. Do me a favor, if you're live with us on YouTube, please smash that like button. Quick break. When we come back, I'm going to get to your questions and comments, so feel free to drop them in. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Gametime, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Gametime makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. I love the all-in pricing. It means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay, and they have last-minute deals. So you can save up to 60% buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team, diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Okay, LSU beats Southeastern 15-2, a walk-off grand slam by Ethan Fry. Let's get to your questions and comments. Fun to watch tonight. Fry paid off. Curiel's on fire. Now get Milam out of the slump. You know, it is interesting you mentioned Milam because by and large, I don't think many people have talked about Milam, but Milam is in the midst of one hellacious slump. It's interesting that we focused so much on Jared Jones's slump when he was fighting it, which it certainly seems now like Jones has come out of it. We focus so much on Braswell's slump early in the year, which is why a lot of people wanted Braswell out of the lineup. Not smart. And we've kind of just ignored Milam. Milam in conference play is batting 195. That's not good. Overall, he's at 292, which is good, but his conference batting average is 195. But he's playing an elite level shortstop, and you'll sacrifice a bat for an elite glove at a premium position. We talk about it all the time. That's why there is no conversation anywhere at all about taking Milam out of the lineup, even though he has struggled so mightily swinging the bat in conference play. And we've seen him do it. So at some point, he'll turn it around and he'll start to creep up. So, yes, it would be wonderful to see Milam come out of that slump. Patrick P., thank you. Monty, exactly what a midweek game should look like after the offense finally came alive Sunday. Hey, Rugaroo said, loving these, Matt. Great way to build and maintain a community. I appreciate you for being there. Sincerely, everybody who comes to these for every post game, I appreciate it. Will, Thomas, thanks for being there. I will tell you, Saturday, I'm going to be in New Orleans at Pearl Jam at Jazz Fest. So I will not be doing a live post game. If I do, it's going to be like from Jazz Fest on my phone, which that's debatable if you want to see me do that. Let's see. Schmidt looked good. Good defense. Derek can't stay off base. Fry hits the grand slam. That pretty much summarizes the game. Derek Curiel, coming into tonight's ball game, has an on-base percentage of .495. Basically, it's a coin flip. Every time he's at the plate, 1 out of every 2 times, he's getting on base somehow, some way. It's incredible. John Curiel's reached base in his last 9 at-bats. Incredible. Tiger Diver, Wade is Curiel baseball Jesus. He is so mightily impressive. I think it does also put into context when you think about this. So Derek Curiel's hitting 345 on the season. I'm sorry, that's in conference play. On the season, he's at 373. Remember, Todd Walker hit 400 as a freshman. It's incredible when you put it into perspective that way. As dominant as Curiel has looked, Todd Walker was better as a freshman. And Curiel is amazing. But that's why no one should ever wear 12 in the history of this program again. Hey, Ben, glad to see Ware pitch. Keep an eye on him. I agree with you, Ben. We've been talking about Ware since the beginning of the season. I've told you this candidly. I have a really good friend of mine that's a scout that has watched Connor Ware pitch for 3 years now and told me in the fall that's the best arm LSU has. And when you're talking about a big dude that's 6'5" and throws 95 from the left side, you just don't see it much. And I know Cade Anderson's been awesome. I'm not saying that what we've seen manifest, but the point is you're talking about scouts that love Connor Ware, and they need him to be awesome. Ware was his most dominant this year in the midweek game when they played in Arlington against Dallas Baptist before they went to Frisco. And that was a point in late February where you're like, okay, if anybody in the weekend rotation falters, he's next. Well, we saw Shores falter, but Ware hasn't quite just put a stranglehold on that spot. And I would tell you, quite honestly, that's probably a best case for LSU if Ware does establish himself as your number 3 starter, which allows you to keep Evans and Cowan in the bullpen undisturbed. Hey, Adam, best LSU podcast around. Thank you, Adam. Very kind of you. I appreciate it. Spurge, Jay doesn't like the 10-run rule. I understand it when you're a guy who is, when you're trying to get a lot of guys work. The flip side of it is it saves your pitching. And it would be one thing if this was professional baseball where if you needed an arm, you could call someone up from your minor league system and you could find an arm that could throw a game. You don't have it in college. You have roster limits. And so when you have opportunities to finish a game like that, that's out of hand, you do it. It's still college baseball. And yes, you could look at it from an LSU perspective, but what about Southeastern? They got a massive weekend ahead of them as they're trying to win the Southland and try to build their resume as an NCAA tournament team. Do you really want to see them go deplete themselves on a Tuesday night in a blowout? I mean, I see it both ways. Adapted said, I fell asleep and woke up to a grand slam from Fry. Not a bad time to wake up. Let's see. Matt, Sunday Brown's homer was to right field, which left the stadium. He didn't hit the left field. Correct. I don't know if I misspoke on that one. The Sunday homer, he hit like basically over the Intimidator. I don't know which one I was thinking of. Maybe it was the midweek homer last week, but Brown hit one opposite field. Maybe it was over the weekend. I don't remember. Hey, David Bass, best baseball is ahead of us. Bubba, good to see everybody there. Y'all, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening or watching on demand, I appreciate you for being there as well. Remember, we are live on YouTube as soon as every game goes final. So thanks for being there with us. Let's see. Matt, 2 D1 programs canceled on LSU, forcing them to add Fort Wayne, another mid-major. I'm aware of what happened, but that doesn't change the fact that you also had Omaha on your schedule and every midweek game that you've played, and it's just an atrocious non-conference schedule. You can find a way to build, and this is pretty common with what LSU has done under Jay. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, clearly the objective is win the national championship, and I'm the one who says it all the time. You can make up for your awful non-conference RPI during conference play, and you do. I mean, the LSU's RPI right now is 5, despite having a non-conference strength of schedule in the 220s. Okay, I mean, I'll tell you exactly what it is. LSU's RPI is 5. Their non-conference strength of schedule is 215 after tonight. That's because you play every game you play in the SEC virtually is a quad 1 game. So, so you're going to make it up. Doesn't matter who you schedule. I would just like to see them schedule better in the non-conference. Let's see. Caleb said, Matt, seems like every time Schmidt gives up a big hit, he loses confidence. Do you agree? Or is he learning? Our relievers did their job. I don't. No, I don't agree on that with Schmidt on confidence. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Schmidt can be boiled down, like his struggles can be boiled down to this. When he would get behind in counts in high school, he could pump 96 over the heart of the plate, and most high school hitters aren't going to hit that. Largely when Schmidt has been in trouble, it's when he's gotten behind in the count and had to throw strikes, and he eats up too much of the plate, and good college hitters don't miss like high school hitters will. So for Schmidt, the key is to pitch ahead. The home run he gave up, again, I don't care. Like it was the first pitch of the inning. He was throwing a get me over strike. That was a pitch that Nate Yeske called. He wasn't trying to pump 97, 98. He was just trying to get ahead 0-1 because their scouting report clearly showed Watts was going to take. And so Schmidt grooved him a fastball, and the kid crushed it. So tip your cap. That's just how it went. He also, in the next hitter, was down 3-0, came back and got a pop out. So no, I don't think that I see that. I think in that third inning where it extended a bit on him. I mean, he got 2 quick outs after the homer and got the lazy fly to center, and Stanfield should have made the play coming in. He just kind of got in between on it, didn't commit, and it fell right in front of him. Stanfield makes that catch. You give up the solo homer on the first pitch, then you go 1, 2, 3 after that, which is what it should have been. Let's see. Manny pitching was better tonight. Worried about Milam slumping, but Braswell rising. I mean, listen, you're never going to have 1 through 9 raking all at the same time. It's just the nature of baseball, man. Like, I know some of you hate hearing me say, oh, it's baseball, but it is. Like, it's the nature of the game. You have, Dylan Cruz started this season. He went like 6 games without a hit. I mean, and now nobody can get him out. That's why you play 162 games in the majors. It's why you play 56 in college plus the postseason. It's why you look at averages and aggregate over the course of a long season, not just one game, because you're going to have ups and downs and peaks and valleys. It's why you just got to be opportunistic when you have those opportunities. And tonight, LSU was, which was awesome. Thaddeus, crazy. Our last 3 wins at the box have been walk-offs. I love LSU baseball. Sean, are you going to do post-game at Jazz Fest? Nope. So I'll get you a post-game on Friday night. Most likely not going to have a post-game for you on Saturday because I'll be at Jazz Fest. Hang on one second. Saturday's game against A&M, first pitch is at 2 o'clock. So that game should be ending right as Pearl Jam is starting at 5. So no, I'm not going to have a post game for you as soon as the game ends on Saturday. So my apologies for that. But other than that, I'm here. Hey, Carlos, thank you for the amazing show. Appreciate it, Carlos. Thank you for being there. James, not worried about Monster. Rather go through it now than later. Jacob, when I was at the game against Alabama, said Stanfield was a junior. Does he have eligibility after this year? That's bizarre because unless if he took a red shirt, let me see. Stanfield was no. Wait, I'm sorry. Stanfield is a junior. He was a freshman. This is one of the reasons Jay recruited him. He was a freshman who touched up Paul Skeens a couple of times when LSU played at Auburn in 2023, which Jay filed away, which is one of the reasons he wanted Stanfield now. But Stanfield won't be back. It's, again, underclassmen sign because if you return for your senior year, you lose leverage. So Stanfield's going to get drafted and he's going to go. Let's see, a couple more here. I appreciate y'all for being with us. We're going to get out of here. I don't want to go too long here into the night. Let me go to the bottom and come back up. Rocky, with Connor Ware pitching tonight, does that mean Shore starts Sunday? No, I don't think that at all. I think this was just Connor Ware didn't pitch over the weekend. So I think this was an opportunity to get Ware up on the bump. And he only threw 12 pitches. So Ware will, Tuesday, he'll have 4 days rest to pitch on Sunday if they throw him out there then. So no, he could absolutely throw on Sunday. Clint, if Curiel's a true freshman, how would he leave after next season? So he is a draft eligible. He will be a draft eligible sophomore. Curiel will, like Cade Anderson is this year. So if you turn, the rule is, I know sometimes there's confusion on this. So the rule is if you turn 21 before the draft, then you can enter. So you have to be 3 years out of high school, or if you turn 21 before the draft, you can enter that draft. So like last year, Bear Jones was a draft eligible sophomore, but chose to return. This year, Cade Anderson is a draft eligible sophomore. He's going to be a top 15 pick. He's gone. Next year, Derek Curiel will be a draft eligible sophomore. He will be gone after next season. Let's see. Ray, hard to hit the little round ball. Yep, no doubt. Alex, postseason plays coming quickly. What's the biggest concern for the team moving forward? The bullpen. There's not even a close second, Alex. It's the bullpen because you have two guys in the bullpen that you count on. It's what we've talked about all year. Cowan and Evans. If you give them the ball, you give it to them with utmost confidence that the game is over. It's not to say they're flawless and they're never going to stumble or give up a lead. But you feel like when you give them the ball, the game is over. Those are the only two guys in the bullpen you feel like that about. There are guys that have pitched very well. DJ Primo was fantastic tonight. Connor Ware was fantastic. Jaden Newt was fantastic tonight. And they've had moments. They've also had moments where in weekends they haven't been able to get guys out. So, you want 8. You want 8 guys. 8 guys that you can count on should be enough to win you a national championship. And you got 4 of them that are no doubters. You got Anderson, Ianson, Cowan, Evans. Those 4 are no doubters. You got 4. You're halfway there. Well, you need some combination of Schmidt, Ware, Newt, Rizzi, Binge, Shores, like some combination of those guys, Primo, to be able to get big outs for you in key spots. And if you can establish that, you have everything you need to win the national championship. You can hit 1 through 9. You can hit for average and power. You can manufacture runs when you need to, as we've seen. They're certainly willing to bunt and steal and all that and squeeze and all that stuff when they need to and play small ball. You're an elite defensive team. They've got 2 dominant starting pitchers. So you've got what it takes to win the national championship. I'm not saying you're the best team or the most talented team, but you have the ingredients to win the national championship. You're just going to have to get there and then play your best in Omaha when you're there. I mean, that's the key to, like, Paul Maneri's teams in 2013 and 2015 were two of the best teams in LSU history. But nobody remembers them because they went to Omaha, and 2013 went 2-0, and 2015 went 1-2. And so because they didn't win in Omaha, people are going to forget those teams. And I understand it. That is the blessing and the curse of playing at LSU. So can you go up there and play your best for 10 days in Omaha? And here's hoping they can. I still think we're selling ourselves short, not giving Brown a shot on the mound. Yeah, here's the thing. When he hasn't pitched in a game in 2 years, I can't imagine there's an opportunity where I'm going to want to give him the ball in a leverage spot. So, no. Cameron, are there any pitchers that haven't really thrown this year that could be an impact guy in the postseason? No. By this point in the year, you have established who your guys are, right? Like, situationally who Jay's going to, in what order, and in what situations. So, no. There's nobody else that's going to impact the postseason. Trevi said, what happens with Gavin next year? He'll come back. I'll tell you, I have had scouts tell me that they would draft Gavin Guidry as a shortstop. So he will get drafted. Now, maybe not this year with the back surgery, right? Having not played and coming off of back surgery, I don't think anybody's going to, it might be like a last round flyer, but certainly not in the top 10 round. But Guidry will come back next season, and because it's a red shirt, he'd still have some leverage, and hopefully he pitches. Maybe he has an opportunity to work his way into the rotation next year. But just hopeful that he gets healthy. Rocky, is Anderson Eisen better than Holden and Jump last year? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, Anderson's going to be a top 15 pick in the draft. And Ianson, the scouts and Pro Bowl teams are drooling over him. And remember, Gage Jump was coming off the injury and didn't really emerge until late in the season. Holman was a really good starter. He just didn't have dominant stuff. These two guys are elite arm talents who are dominating as well right now, which is awesome to see. Let me see if I can get one more in here. We're going to wrap this thing up. Alex, follow-up question. Incoming freshmen and unknown transfer portal additions aside, what returning players do you think will be no doubters in the lineup next year, regardless of who comes to campus? Good question. So I think Cade Arambidi is going to be your starting catcher. They could always and probably will go into the portal to try to add catching depth. But they are very high on Cade Arambidi, and you can see the ability is there. He just needs experience. Arambidi, you're going to lose the rest of your infield. You're losing Jones, Dickinson. No, you'll have Milam back. So I'm sorry, Milam at short. Jones, Dickinson, Braswell will be gone. Milam will be at short. So I think Arambidi at catcher, Milam at short, Curiel in left. Curiel in center next year with Stanfield gone. Curiel in center, and Brown will very likely be in right. I think those are the guys will be written into the lineup next year from day one. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, y'all. Let's not start talking about next year. Let's focus on this, because you've got 10 games left. You got 9 SEC games, a midweek next week against Grambling, 10 games to lock up a national seed to make sure that postseason runs through the box. And I got news for you, Coach. I pity the team that's got to come to Alec Box Stadium and try to win a super regional. It's happened. Stony Brook did it. Coastal Carolina did it. It's happened. Florida State did it. It's happened. But that ain't no easy task. I also know that LSU has never advanced to the College World Series when having to travel for a super regional. So you want to get to Omaha, the path to Omaha has to run through the box. You do that, you become one of 8 teams that qualify for that tournament. See if you can go play your best. See if you can get a win behind Cade Anderson in game 1. See if Ianson can get you a win in game 2. You move into the winner's bracket in Omaha, and somebody's got to come back and beat you twice. I like your odds at that point. You do that, you get into a championship series, and then, line up your pitching again and see how it goes. You can do it, man. It is very doable for this team. They got to get there. They got to play their best when they're there. But to get there, the first things first is lock up a national seed. 3 weekends to go. You got 6 wins. You got to find 6 of your next 9 in conference play. It starts this weekend in College Station against the Aggies. Okay, y'all, you know where we'll be, right here on Locked on LSU. Do me a favor, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you every single day for Locked on LSU, your team every day.